Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, I picked a doozy of a topic for today's show, which is chivalry. Yes, does it still exist, especially in the bedroom? What does it mean to your relationship? How does it fit in, especially in today's times, how things have changed so much? Lots of questions come up with women being much more empowered by their womanhood and taking charge and, being the first to approach the man, as opposed to sitting back in the older times and it was up to the man to make the first move. Nowadays, women can make the first move. Some men like it still, to be the old way, while others actually, embrace the new womanhood and the freedom of the woman to make that first move. So, I know chivalry, it dates back to medieval times. And the knighthood, especially the institution of knighthood, which developed between the years 1711 and 2020. It has basically been redefined as time has gone on, and it's refined to appease the stresses of society, basically. And there's a lot of men out there that still do have chivalry and are somewhat afraid to use it, not to be shot, so they won't be shot down by a woman. But there are those who just aren't doing it because we as women are that bold nowadays and so outspoken that you just, okay, open your door. It's unlocked. There was a time when, I forgot what movie it was in, but, I know what it was. Oh my gosh, I gotta remember the name. When I remember the name, A Bronx Tale, that's what it was. Where, he was told if the girl, leans over and unlocks the door, she's a keeper. And, that was the thing. And it has grown since then. And everything. There are still those men out there that really are old-fashioned and like to do that. And the sad part about it is sometimes, they don't have to do it all the time, but sometimes they actually have to state that. I know online dating has become big nowadays, especially now with COVID, but it is still very hard for those individuals that, come from back in the day when you didn't go online to get your girlfriend, or you didn't get online to meet your future wife. You went through the courting process. You, they asked your parents or your father, whoever, but for the most part, it was usually the father. And they would ask him, could they take you out? Or, if you've been dating for a long time, could they have your hand in marriage? Nowadays, very rare that you will find that. I'm assured it is still being done. But I think it has been reduced to cultures now, as opposed to just all around, and that being part of the societal norms. It is, having chivalry, like, opening doors and pulling out the chairs for the woman, is a sign of respect for the woman. And it's kind of hard these days. It's sometimes frowned upon, and I feel for those men out there that are trying to do that, which they are there. But like I said, I think we're going through that time where it's a kind of sort of a bit of a struggle. I mean, if a man asks you on a date and then the check came, you never had to question it, is he going to pay the bill? Nowadays, it's more of, are we splitting the bill? Oh, who's paying for it? This is like such a change. There are times, now it's like the guy would come to your house and pick you up and dropped you off by a reasonable hour. Granted, we are older now, but now it's more like, okay, can, meet me here just in case we don't like each other and you can either leave or whatever the case may be. But it's more of a meetup now. It's not even that part of it. I'm sure there's still men out there that give roses, but that is still more done as opposed to the other things. It has been considered a stress here and there. It's kind of hard sometimes because the conventional notions of chivalry are still there, but it has changed, and it's more of letting the man at least. I mean, good upon other women will come right out and they have money on them because they, no, I'll just pay for mine, or you pay for yours, or whatever the case may be. But for men to offer first would be good, but because they did actually take you out. But it is such a struggle of the sex roles these days that it's sad to say that we actually have to question it. And it's, when you go with chivalry and how it, it couples with gender inequality, warmth and friendliness generally are associated with sexism. But then it's like, sometimes, there was a study done where it was published in a book, which there is a magazine called Sex Roles, and it, suggested that this particular act could be masking the chauvinistic and patronizing views of all. So we really, really don't let that stop you from being who you are as an individual in expression chivalry. Because if that's what you want to do, do it. Now in the bedroom, it's, manipulative, manipulative. Still always struggling with one word or another. Manipulative chivalry versus genuine chivalry. It's important to distinguish the two from each other. Now, some with men, they use it chivalry to impress a date and get sex. Because if you're really nice, you take them out to eat, you pay the bill, and you're expecting to get a hump in the bed. If you'd have just opened up with that and let the woman know, you might just get the woman you're attracted to with regards to that. I mean, I know nowadays it is, we're a little, as a societal and as sex has grown within it, some people would like just to get that out in the beginning to see how it is. And that's what they based what they're going to do or how far they're going to go with a relationship, if they're even going to be a relationship. And so they want to just get it out of the way and find out instead of just enjoying a date. Be chivalrous. And, it goes both ways, but it's, in the old time, it's more men than it is women. Yes, women are very independent these days, man. I understand that completely. Hey, I am one. But it is still nice to have that old-fashioned man and know that they still exist. Yes. Are we independent? Absolutely. Can we hold our own for the most part? Absolutely. Can all of us? Oh, no. Are they still going by the old times? Absolutely. Now you ask a woman out on a date, she should never feel obligated to pay for the date with sex. Seriously. Hey, there are women out there, don't get me wrong, man, that don't mind that. And that's their way of showing you they really like you. Remember, we both think about sex differently and from different parts of our anatomy. So women think one way and men think with the wrong head for the most part. So remember that. You need to really, being a man and being chivalrous just for that one time does not increase your chances of sex. Well, at least not all the time. Like I said, there are those women out there that do not mind that. The date's really going good, and boom, you're getting all that, and then the guy doesn't call the next day or doesn't call ever again, and you're wondering, well, why? Well, that might be the answer. So, and dinner should never be held on that. So remember that. That is actually being manipulated. Chivalry. That genuine chivalry is where you, observe his attitude towards sex. Is he trying to get sex, or is he forcing it on you? I mean, there is playful banter to understand if you two are on the same wavelength when it does come to sex, and it's a getting to know each other process. Granted, you're at dinner and you're having conversation and you're trying to get to know each other and understanding that. And that, just seeing where the man's coming from or where the woman's coming from with regards to sex. But generally we are talking about chivalry here, which unfortunately, guys, falls back on your shoulders for the most part. But granted, let me tell you, as women, they're definitely going back and telling their friends or, how you opened the door for them, how you paid for the check, how you did all this nice stuff. You might get to that point where, you realize that you're not getting sex. Like you're that manipulative chivalry that you just went all the way through with, and you drive her home and boom, you're not getting it. She doesn't invite you in or she doesn't go back to your house. So remember that. You got to make sure when a man is genuine and really genuinely chivalrous in the bedroom, he's going to make sure you're comfortable with what's going on. If he just goes on and doesn't care and he's just getting in there to get the sex, yeah, that you went to dinner with him and as a payment he's expecting to get something. That happens a lot more times than none. Another way you could tell that a gentleman is genuinely chivalrous in the bedroom, he's really sensitive to your feelings and needs, but he is really still in charge in a really sexy way that you can't resist for the most part. And generally, when he's done in the bedroom, so are you. So there's where that sexual, you don't ever feel obligated, women, which I know you don't need to be told that, but you'll know when he is he's really concerned about how you feel and how things are going during sex. Now, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we will continue our topic of chivalry all over and in the bedroom. And then we will close out the show with some good topic, I'm assured. I got two in mind, but let me think which one I want to use. But for right now, go get that drink, go get that snack, come back, get relaxed, and I will meet you back here for more Sex Talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, our topic today is chivalry in the bedroom, or chivalry in general in relationships, in society for that matter. You know, there are two types: manipulative and genuinely chivalrous. Remember, any partner out there, you are not obligated to pay for the dinner check with sex. Unless you have that agreement right out, hey, go for it. More power to you. You will know that if they are genuine, it is what is said and what is done and how they feel, your partner feels when you are in the bed. And it's not old. It is there. Please bring it back out where everybody can see it. It is not something how men are supposed to treat women. It should be how people treat each other, and that is with mutual respect, because if you're giving respect, you earn respect, and you should give it back. So chivalry is not dead. So we are going to continue our topic of chivalry, but I am going to end the show out with, because I thought of which one I would like to talk about, And seeing as we are on the topic of chivalry, why not talk about some ways to be extra romantic? So we're going to go with that one today and close out the show with that. So continuing on, we are in the bedroom where we need to ask, chivalry, is it still there? Is it in the bedroom when it comes to sex? They are considering it chivalry and sex as like the new chivalry, and a real quote unquote Prince Charming always lets you finish her first, not all there just for themselves. It is when you are in the, it's not lost, it's not anywhere, and being that, I shall say, a gentle person as opposed of just gentlemen. But that gentle person is not an antiquated notion. It is still out there, and it is even more when it's in the bedroom. Our ideas of sex haven't really changed. They're just more open, and they're expressed more and more accepted, as opposed to back in the day where you kept it all in and you never, said anything. Is it, back then it was you get married, then you have sex. It was all about the man to the woman and all that good stuff, and you're there to make babies. Women are supposed to stay in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. Well, that has gone way out the door, and sex is so being dominated by women in some sense, and depending on what you like more. Women are out there. Men in the bedroom, they will focus on you, especially with sex and chivalry. If you know he's true, he's concerned about how you feel. Are you getting your rocks off? Does the sex feel good? Are they hurting you? This is what your partner should be. This is what chivalry in the bedroom is. They're making sure that you get your orgasm as well as theirs. And for the most part, they let you finish first. So remember that is out there, and that in the bedroom, I think chivalry gets bumped up even higher because it is all, most people go in to have sex. It is for the orgasm, and you know that. So when they get in there, what do we talk about after our partners? We talk about, oh my God, while we were doing it, he was so nice, or she was so nice, just how I felt, and it hurt. That chivalry is coming through. But you can do the same for them. Granted, chivalry has always been focused more on the man than the woman. But we can work on that, especially in the bedroom. Now, only a complete a-hole would just go in there and have sex with you and get their rocks off and then leave you there. You haven't gotten yours off yet, unless, of course, that is the game you are playing in the bedroom. They usually make sure that you get off. They make sure that they work hard to get you to get that orgasm because they are watching you, and they're getting off watching you in the bed. That chivalry act in the bedroom makes sex so much more interesting and wanting to get to that orgasm to show it off. Like, look what you made me do. And that's generally where that will come in. We always ask, they ask, and we may just get up and say, or your partners may just get up and say, oh no, you're fine. But do be boisterous. because that is a genuine chivalry act. Remember, you are not obligated to give up sex because they paid for dinner or they paid for anything. If you went to the movie and there was no dinner, you bought your french fries from McDonald's. Remember, you are not obligated for that. And there are coupons out there for like $1 large fry. Come on. And then they'll call you the cheap date. So where is that working? Because you didn't give it up. That is not what it is about. They are very, your partner, that chivalry in the bedroom when you're in sex, is they are very attentive of what it sparks you, what is turning you on. How can they do it better to watch it get even better? So remember that when you're in the bedroom, listen to what he's saying. Listen to what your partner's saying. How are they saying it? What are they concerned with? You can generally, figure out if they're genuine or not. Hey, there are some individuals out there that are very good at what they do when it comes to getting laid. Don't get me wrong. Just remember who you are, what you want, and how you want it. And for the most part, you can navigate around that manipulative chivalry. Like I said, there are those people out there who actually want it that way. We're going to go get some food and then go get laid. Simple, cut, dry, to the point. You're being honest with each other. You've communicated it. Go and do it. You could just turn around and say, well, if that's the case, you're paying for dinner. Hey, I'm sure it's been done. And it is still being done. Your pleasure in the bed is as important as your partner's. Like I said, unless it is where you are role-playing or you are doing some submissive sexual act where you are to just be right there and let them do what they're doing. But that is total agreement from the both of you. I am really talking about how when you get in there and it is, and I can't even say normal sex anymore because there is no type of normal sex. But when you get in there, your partner's trying to get you off even before they are starting because they're watching because they want to get off watching you. The importance with that orgasm to your partner is where that chivalry in the sexual bed will come out. How important is it to them? Is it, or should we know that at times, and this does go out to the men, that men do get finished quickly. There are those who can hold their ejaculation and have been able to train it because they probably masturbate enough or masturbated just before they got with you so they can really get down dirty and last really long. Hey, whatever turns them on. You may be thinking it's just natural for a guy to finish first. They usually are trying, generally for man finishes first, like I said. It's because they are so excited and they get it out. If they roll over, go to sleep, which is usually a common thing, but if they just lean back, guy sitting there talking to you, still playing with you and fondling, cuddling you, and playing with your clitoris just to get them hard again so they can go at it for the second time, that might just be it. But there are men out there that will masturbate before they get with you. If they know they're paying for the dinner, in their mind, they may not have told you, but in their mind they're getting sex. Yeah, you might want to tune into that, because all that chivalry in the end really relies on how you hold yourself. But if that, like I said, if you want that, there you go. Sometimes no words are needed with that. There is another way in which chivalry is thought to be in the bedroom and it's funny because if he goes down on you, if he doesn't go down on you, don't keep him around. Not everybody likes that, but for the most part with chivalry, he is reciprocating that oral sex gesture that when they come up to you and they want you to go down on them and give them a blowjob and they're holding your head down there, ooh, be aware. Don't let them do it. But it lets you know, if he goes down on you, okay, it is reciprocated. And you got to know that there's that chivalry, which is right there. And you're like, okay. He doesn't mind going down on me. And not minding you coming on his face. That might be the thing that he loves the most, or your partner in general loves the most. So, but remember, it goes both ways. Your partner should love every inch of your body in the bed when it comes to being chivalrous and genuinely chivalrous. Loves every inch of your body. It will show you how each part of your body turns them on, which makes you feel secure, makes you feel sexy, and uninhibited to allow your partner to do whatever they really want. They're just loving your body, every inch of it, from your head to your toes, and they're showing you this. There are times when you think, if he's good in bed, he's probably good at life. That actually depends on how you're looking at it. It might just be the guy is a real muck, to say things neatly and nicely. And he's like really good in bed. Or your partner's really good in bed and you can't wait to go to sleep with him, or whatever, it's a booty call, whatever the case may be. But when they get out, they are like horrible. Very difficult to find, but nowadays I think it's a lot easier where that guy is really good in bed, but they really treat you like crap on the outside. Generally, if they're good in bed, they are good in life. And they will treat you respectfully in that way. But there are a lot out there now that if they're good in the bed and you can talk it up like a storm. But then when you get outside of the bedroom, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. What the heck happened? Was this the same person I went to bed with last night and freaking turned me on and gave me the most amazing orgasm? Am I sure that this is their real nitwit? Or do you want where they're really good in bed and when you get outside, oh my God, he's like, or she is so good and so nice to me. I mean, they open the door, they do this, they do that. And that chivalry goes beyond the bedroom. But in the bedroom, they are so genuinely chivalrous, it's unbelievable. It just makes sex that much more fun and orgasmically attainable. But we are going to take a break here. So go replenish that snack, replenish that drink, come back, get relaxed. And then when I come back, we are going to continue on our topic of chivalry and end out the show with some ways that you can be extra romantic to your partner. And so I will meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, welcome back, all my little honey devils, where our topic is about chivalry in the bedroom. We've talked about the two types, genuinely chivalrous or manipulatively chivalrous. This is not, manipulative is not a healthy, obviously, because it manipulates with sex. Doing one thing to get sex as an end result and payment, and you should never feel obligated to do so in any situation, unless, of course, you are role-playing or you already have it in agreement that this is what's going to happen. Sex at the end of dinner. So you have communicated this, you've consented to this. Hey, there you go. However, most everybody, I would say 99% of the population and or society in general would love somebody who is genuinely chivalrous. And nowadays, with chivalry being what it is getting a little misinterpreted to some extent. There are still some partners out there that love to show their chivalry acts by opening up the door to the car for your date or your partner in general, paying for the check when you go out. Nowadays, chivalry is a little confusing to an extent, because nowadays if you open the door up for someone or for your partner, generally it is a man and a woman, they will tell you, I can open it myself, instead of just respecting and showing that respect to each other in that manner, to allow him to express who he is in that way. Also, when paying the bill at dinner, the man gets put down on the table, and the man, you're both sitting there looking at it nowadays and saying, all right, who the heck is paying? Do we split the bill? Do you pay for it all by yourself? Do I pay for it? Really get this out in the open, and there really shouldn't be any question when it comes to chivalry. So, and remember, don't feel obligated to pay with sex after, unless the both of you are in consent of this, and you've already communicated this fact to one another. Chivalry in the bed, obviously, when your partner shows that they love every inch of your body, or they care how you feel during sex. They are really attuned to getting you turned on and having an orgasm, or at least trying to get you to do it at the same time, which usually comes with people who have been with each other for a very long time, or really good control. but can be done. But they are more genuinely concerned on how it feels. Are they doing it right? Are they hurting you? How is it making you feel? They're watching you. They're loving every part of your body. They go down on you as you go down on them. It is a partnership. It is a mutual respect when it comes to chivalry, not really a one-sided thing where it used to be back in the day where it was all about the man doing the courting and coming to the house. Now we go out and meet each other, which I think is, especially with our societal changes in, date rape or date crimes or anything that has to do with that. I think that has a lot to do. And you have your own car. It makes it that much more easier for you to dash. And some of you may even have it where if the date is going bad, you have a friend text you at a certain hour in the date if you have not made it out yet. So there is that as well. But remember, it is chivalry and just being able to respect each other. And in the bedroom, very much so. Kind of hard outside of that when you're first meeting somebody because our society has changes and our views on sex and courting have changed. But in the bedroom, you will know if it is genuine or manipulative in that way. Now, let's continue on because we are going to finish up the show in the last segment with ways to be extra romantic. So continuing on with our topic of chivalry and where we left off before we took a break. You got to ask the question or just, wonder. He should get gratification from making you feel satisfied. Yeah, they usually do anyway. That shouldn't even be a question. That shouldn't even be a thought. They generally will express that during sex, that they are watching you and it is turning them on. And this is really a sign of a real partner, a real man, whereas they're getting turned on completely just by watching you. Don't need to ask the question, don't need anything. He gets more joy from watching you squirming and feeling good and moaning and groaning and, taking you to that right almost to the tip of that orgasm and then bringing you back down, but he is turned on. Or he may just let you go all the way, have that orgasm, and just as you're doing it, get himself off. Or at least try and do it at the same time as you and help you along. Who's to say that whatever you're doing is turning him on as much? And that is really where chivalry comes in the bedroom and when it comes to sex and all that good stuff. Give a girl a good orgasm. Guess what? That partner is yours for life. Because if you can give one hell of an orgasm, they want more. You are good in the bed. You got to show your partner. Because generally if it is a female, unless it's female on female, men, it's kind of hard because you got to find their little points, their little G-spots, their little everything that turns on. What part of the body do you touch that turns them on? And getting them to where it gets to that point. We don't think like you guys do. We don't think with our vaginas. We think with our heads. So we're taking this as an overall thought process and how it's affecting our body as a whole. With you guys, generally with men, it's all about, let's get the winky off. Let's get, downstairs Pete off. Let's get Pete, my penis wants to be happy or it wants to just squirt all over the place. That is true. Quite true. But I'm telling you, It's not that easy when getting a woman off. We're really pretty much in tune with our vaginas and stuff and what things will turn us on sexually and what doesn't. And believe it or not, I don't even have to say that, you guys know this. If you hit the wrong button, total turn off on a woman. Poof, we could turn off that sexual whatever is going on that you're doing, where we were really going off or really moaning and groaning and getting to that point of orgasm. Turn it off. Get up. Like they weren't even there in the bed with you, and walk away from it. And I'm assured you've had partners that have been like that. It's not uncommon. It is not uncommon. So unleash your feminine side, guys, because it will be a total turn on to a woman. And you might not have to worry about the ways in which you will need to turn on your partner, because you're halfway there. But I will tell you, if it comes to a woman, it will be where if you do something wrong, and it's just too funny because it's almost like, I don't know, turning water on and off. As simple as that. They could be almost to the best orgasm possible and can get right up and end that off if you say or do something during sex. And we don't want that to happen. We want the both of you to get off and have a good old time in the sack, because chivalry, again, is not dead. It is kind of muted right now, if we want to put it politely, with the societal changes in how it's viewed with so many women. With our women empowerment now, it's really hard, because especially even with COVID right now, I mean, everything has turned to online dating, online sex, and you got to ask yourself, my God, because everybody's in the house and we're either out of our minds, basically, and we just want to get out. If we're in the house and, for those of you partners who are married or are living together and everything, you probably don't have to worry about all that. But for those who do not have partners, it's kind of sort of one of those things where, oh my God, you got to get out, and you really want to get out. And women online today, I have heard some serious horror stories where they want to get out there and, just like a man, get laid. Hey, they're human. They're human. This isn't like the olden times where everything was like waiting and wondering and waiting for the man. Woman can now start this and be very independently out there. And some men really, are turned on by that. Others would still love to just be able to do that. They're a little old fashioned, and it's sad now that, like, they have to ask. Back in the day, you never had to do that. Nowadays, just so you won't get shot down, you ask, do you mind if I open the door for you? I'm going to push your chair in. Because if you came up behind, for the most part, if it's a first date, you come up behind a woman, they're going to jump right out of their skin. Why are you behind me? No, you go, that first date's going to be horrible. Because how society is nowadays, chivalry, that question, is chivalry dead? No, it's really been reduced to is it manipulative or genuine? And it shouldn't even have to go on that far to be approached. It should come naturally. It should be something that shouldn't be questioned because it is a form of respect towards each other. And it can come either way, from the man or the woman. And you don't need to worry about that. So remember that chivalry is not dead. It is still there. Just let it be expressed. It is on the outside of the bedroom and on the inside of the bedroom. And ways to tell are by, what that partner says to you, how it says to you, what are they concerned with when they're in there? Are they concerned on you getting off and feeling good and they're really focusing on getting you to that orgasm? Yes, reciprocate that. But then again, like I said, if it is not all about that and you're doing role play or you're doing a submissive act, well, you have discussed this with your partner. You have consented to it. So that is where I think chivalry doesn't really need to apply. You could add it in there, but generally what that comes with is with respecting the fact of a safe word, or if your partner doesn't really like it, what is being done, and respecting that and stopping. So chivalry is there. It is in disguise at some points, but it's the simple things that it is that we don't even look at anymore. And we probably wouldn't even think of it as chivalry. We are going to take the last break in the show. And when we come back, I will finish out the show with some ways that you could be extra romantic to your partner. So it's completely up to you. If you want more snack, you want more drink, please do go get some. Or you could just stay right where you're at, remain relaxed, and I will meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, our topic, which has been consistent to the show, is on chivalry. And as promised, I am going to end out the show on some ways to be extra romantic, where you want to have more romance in your relationship and turn that love into romance for both you and your partner. I thought it would be a good way to end out the show because we are talking about chivalry. and asking that question, is it dead? It is not. It is slightly muted in today's society and getting a little confused. It is there, people. Just respect it. And it goes both ways, man and woman, and allowing that person to express it. You reciprocate it back to them. In the bedroom, most importantly. You know, and knowing that you don't need to be or take manipulative chivalry, or, you know, just knowing when it is genuine in the bedroom. And it will be shown through how your partner talks to you, how they, you know, show concern for you and how you're feeling and getting to that orgasm. So, let's go on. Now, we all know that romance. We all love it. I don't care what anybody says. It is contagious. And when we are wrapped up in it, it is the best way to get that partner and be romantic and show that sign of, I really like you. You know, let's go further. So, one of the first ways to do this is by waxed nostalgic, which is think back when you first, especially if you're already in the relationship, because this is more towards you're in the relationship already, you're with your partner, you've been with this partner for a while, and just think about it. Think back to that first time you met your partner and how you felt all giddy inside, all those, that little school classmate crush that you had on them, and how you really wanted to impress them and get their attention and get them to notice you. Because isn't that what it's all about sometimes? You know, sometimes there are moments where you've gotten to a point in a relationship where it's like, I don't know if you want to call it getting stale, but it's gotten where you're getting comfortable. That's basically what it is. You're getting very comfortable with your partner, and not that you're trying to get in a rut or not paying attention. It happens. So, you want to change that. You want to get out of that. Start thinking about that first day you met them and how that felt. And just out of kindness, buy them flowers or buy them something that they probably be looking at, and you just want to do it. Show romance. Treat them out. You know, we haven't had a time out in a while, and I'm feeling a little lost here. Do something, you know, show it. Another way is don't overshare. There is, and believe it or not, between intimacy and TMI, too much information. There is such a fine line between that, because what you want to do is just tell them everything. Or if this is a new relationship, and I know, like, it's really funny, the first thing that we all think about when in that relationship is getting comfortable peeing in front of your partner or farting in front of them. All that stuff like that. It's so funny because we get to that point where it's natural. We've been together for a really long time. It's nothing new. Actually, try still keeping those little things private to yourself, because really It doesn't matter who that person is. Do you really want to watch your partner on the toilet? You might have gotten used to them, but that memory is going to stick in your head well beyond the rut stage of the relationship. You don't want that. So keep it pretty much. I gotta go and make a funny little gesture for it, but you go. And that is like your private time, and just basically keeping some quality time to pamper yourself in that way. Or having that little bit of time where you do pamper yourself alone, separated from your partner, and you give yourself each a break. And that goes for both of you, not just one of you, just both of you, because technically you need to keep some individuality about yourself. Because if you don't, you will lose yourself in that relationship, and you don't want to do that. It doesn't matter how long you've been together. It doesn't matter how long, if it's new, you've been with them for years. It doesn't matter. Maintain a level of individuality. If they don't like it, well, then they don't really like you, and they're not respecting who you are. So that's generally where the relationship goes and hits rock bottom. And getting in out of a rut, anything and everything you do is not going to work. So remember that. Doesn't matter how old or new the relationship is. Always set aside a night for date night. Go on a date. Doesn't matter how long you've been with that person. Go on a date. It's time with you and your partner. It is where the two of you can just enjoy yourselves. Talk about stupid stuff. Laugh and giggle over the stupid stuff. Who cares? And then maybe turn it around and turn it into something sexual, like you're out in public, but yet you're doing like little sexual innuendos with each other or anything. Whereas like you're already doing that verbal foreplay at the table. Who's to say? It could be where you just want to go out and have that date and then come home and continue that date and watch a movie together before you go to bed. Make some popcorn, just keeping in the comfort of each other and cuddle. But go on a date. Have a date night. Plan something out. Don't just say, okay, let's go on a date on Friday. Well, what do you want to do? When you get to Friday, what do you want to do? And the both of you are looking at each other. Well, that is not going to help. Have a plan. How about we go to, I know you wanted to go up here and take a ride over here. Why don't we make a day of it and have that our date day? And we'll go do that. Then we'll have dinner after, and then maybe, either rent a movie, or now, what they are doing, believe it or not, is there's a good amount of Walmarts that are now opening up their parking lots for movie night, free movie night. You do still have to buy tickets, though. You do have to go online to Walmart and buy tickets, but it is free, and you can go. They're opening up as a drive-in, which is really pretty cool, because the drive-in is that old fun way. You're in your car, you can make out like two teenagers or whatever the case may be. And they are still doing like social distancing with the car, which is cool. That'd be an awesome date night. This, exchange just because gifts or treats. And this, I touched lightly on this a little earlier, whereas you go out and you just get something for your partner just because you were thinking about them when you went out. That actually means a lot to your partner. And not that it's always, just Valentine's or birthday or anniversary. You were out somewhere and you looked at this item in the store and said, oh my God, so-and-so would love this. Buy it. I mean, I know it's kind of hard right now with COVID, and our economy is still trying to build its way back up. But the mere fact of the matter is, it reminded you of your partner, so just get it for them, just saying, I was thinking about you today, and I went in the store and I saw this. It is just because you are who you are, Another way to maintain some romance in that relationship is by just engaging in random PDA, public display of affections, and not the electronic PDA. Just while you're walking around, hold each other's hand. Even if it's you're holding each other's finger, it's just put your arm around your partner, or some way of showing that you're there with each other. Those little give a little smooch to your partner. These are right in public. You don't give a crap what anybody else says. Just do it. It means so much to your partner, and it will mean so much to you because they're receiving it and reciprocating. It goes both ways. I know this is not done. Some people still do it, but it was really more done during military times. But I think this is an awesome way to rekindle romance or give extra romantic romance in the relationship. Is write love letters, not done anymore. Like little love notes. Even if it's on a sticky, you wrote a little note. Or just, if you're sitting at work, write a love letter. Send it. Let your partner see something come in the mail from you to them. It might just be a card and you write something in it. Just because you are who you are. Who cares? Just do it. It's not done that much anymore. That time away from, you might have to go on a business trip. Write a little letter. So it gets back to you, you may be talking to them on the phone. Who cares? Write a letter. Something's a little concrete, something tangible that they can read, hold in their hand, go back to it and read it over and over again as many times as they want. So those are things that you can do. Another great thing that shows romance, which means a lot to your partner, and this is also reciprocated in the other way, is if you talk about your partner, like you're bragging about your partner in public, whoever you're talking to, just brag about your partner. Brag about how much they mean to you. That you feel compliments your partner. Partners always, don't know what to say or do when you do compliment them. And tell them, maybe they have a new hairstyle, their hair looks really nice there, or they sparked your eye today. Tell them that, that dress looks really good. I really like it. You know what I mean? Or you're turning me on or something. Compliment them. Now, this other way of being extra romantic is really not for the people who are afraid of heights, but it is, I'm going to kind of put this all together. It's skydive together. Not everybody wants to do that. Some people are afraid of heights, so let's look at it this way. Do something else together as a team, but make it something different. Something you would have never done before. You're going to try it. Do it. Another thing, how with what's going on out there, I'm sure you can't go and do these things, but there are those classes where you go and learn how to paint a particular picture. And while you're just enjoying the class, or you're enjoying that, they also have it where you can make little classes, things like that. Pick out something like that. They have ceramic places where you can go and make a ceramic piece. Do it together. Remember, these are extra romantic. If you already do that, partner, oh, kudos. 10 points for you. But for those of you who are wondering, it doesn't take, as that saying goes, count. End of my show. Sad as always. But thank you for listening in to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As always, I would like you to please subscribe to the show, write a review, a nice one. It helps me, and it helps us as a whole here at GSMC Podcast Network. Also, can you please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram? You will find us there with all different kinds of shows coming to you from the GSMC Podcast Network. And thank you, and have a good night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.